Hello everyone, I'm going to show you today how to knit sleeves two at a time. Actually more how to pick up stitches as it looks like that now. What you need, I used progress keeper just to mark beginning of the round, because in the magic loop method you always know that one side is beginning of the round, the other one is not, and basically once you come back to it you know this is it. Probably what I'll be doing, I'll be just moving this progress keeper up and up to know what side is beginning of the round side. Okay, let me talk you through it before we start. Obviously you have stitches on hold. We're going to start from the armpit and from the armpit on the other sleeve too. We're going to pick up stitches. Depends how many you were increasing during the area where you were splitting for the sleeves and moving the stitches on hold. Normally at that sections in the pattern tells you to increase for the body, and those kind of have bigger loops. You'll see it in a sec. So basically I had increased overall 6 stitches, so I will have 3 on one, and when I come back will be another 3. So my way of doing it will be to pick up stitches, get an extra stitch, then slip stitches purlwise. Now we're going to move to another sleeve, take a yarn from different ball and do exactly the same thing. Move the yarn, then slip stitches, leave that area, slip stitches, and then we do another round where we'll be slipping those stitches. So for me 3 stitches, knitted together, knit the stitches, exactly do the same thing on the other side, knit the stitches, and now we're going to pick 1 stitch, knit 2 together and pick 3 stitches, and we'll repeat that over here. So let me show you how I did that. Sometimes for the sleeve, just to bear in mind, because the circumference of the sleeves is smaller than the body, so we have a tendency to knit tighter. Therefore, 1, definitely be aware of that. That's something that this may happen. 2, adjust your needle size, although I'm not really a fan of that. So number 3 for me would be just to increase the number of stitches around the sleeves. Always bear in mind that in the areas that our body moves, so joint areas, we don't want a close fit. We would prefer positive ease, because what they say, that to feel comfortable moving arms front, back, up, for this area to stretch, we need 1.5 inch positive ease here. So I'm just saying. Hopefully everything stays in the frame. So I'm taking, and now I know I added up 3, but sometimes I like to look at what I have left, and I like to look at the direction of each column. So for instance, you know, I would love to have a stitch over here, I would love to have a stitch over here, and sometimes I'm checking, have I made a mistake and maybe, I don't know, there was too loose between them and should I grab more? So anyway, long story short, I think I'm going to go here, 1, 2, and 3, and do bits. Okay, let's start. I'm not knitting them, I'm just picking them up, definitely. Two, 3. Okay, so I picked up 3, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up another one, but on the second round I will just knit 2 together to make sure that I don't have a hole. And I think I'll go here. Make it loose, and then I will just pick up stitches. First I need to count how many stitches I have, because I forgot. Okay, it seems that 16 stitches is the half of the stitches for my sleeve. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 16. Pull it through, and then I can actually just pull this strand of those. Okay, so that was first sleeve. Bring the other sleeve closer, do the same thing on the other one. So I'm taking the same needle that goes from here And now, very important part, I have to take the different end, not the same one, so from a different ball or anything like that, and do this. Otherwise you will have to do it again. Let's do this. So I'm going to do one. Now remember to remove the one from the end. Don't mix things up. Go from the ball. 2, 3, and let's go somewhere over here for the 4. It looks kind of messy, don't you think? Well, knitting. Okay, 4. Will that line up? Yeah, it will. And then 16. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okie dokie. So this is how it looks. I have one end going through the half of first sleeve, then a half of another sleeve. It's wonky, but it's from under armpits. And now I can flip it. Okay, let's flip this baby. And as you can see, this is where we finished. So I'm just going to do like a magic loop. So I'm creating a loop over here that will stick there, so stays there. And then I'm going to pick up another half of the stitches. Okay, so we did one and we're going to do another one. So let's pick up. Now please don't rush, because you may end up that the wire is crossing. So I need to take it down and then go over here and pick it up. So don't be afraid, I'm just pulling. Okay, so maybe a tip. I just gather stitches, okay, in my hand. Let's say this way. Pull it out and then I'll try to put it back. Just in case something like this happened, and now is a right way. We have a track over here, like a train track. Double check that we have it right. So that should be just straight, if you know what I mean. There's no twists and anything like that. At this stage, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the beginning of the round. I'm not putting markers over here because they're just fall. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark the first stitch on the needle, and then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to slip purlwise 1, 2, 3 stitches. I'm going to knit together these two. So the one that I created and the first that was on hold, and that should kind of help me up with the hole if you have any. Ta-da! And then I'm going to knit. Lovely, until the end of this sleeve, and drop the strand and go for the strand from the other ball and do exactly the same thing. And because we're doing 2 at a time, my memory spam, it's a short time memory, isn't it? That's how you call it. So I still remember what I'm doing. So I'm slipping 2, 3. Now, just to make sure that this loop that we created, the stitch, is not too long, not too tight. Just look at it first and see. So create a tension with a strand over here, and then knit it together. And now check, do you like it? Okay, because at this point you can kind of reverse. So you see it kind of stretches over here. Will I live with it? It kind of reminds the other side, so I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to knit until the end. You know, now you can correct if you picked up stitches and they're anyway twisted on the needle, or you know, you pull through some plies. Okay, now I'm pulling this end over here. Get the other end, lovely. Pull this one slightly. Flip around. Remember, take the right strand and the same sleeve I'm knitting across. You can do it. Lovely. Yay! Whew, that was something. And now we'll be picking 4, right? So anyway, we're going to check it out how it goes. So remember we picked from this, so I'm going to pick here. Then we have 2, 3. So this will be our 4th one. So I hope you can see it. So what I'm looking at those V's, and I'm going up, I'm going up, I'm going up. I could just pick up 1, 2, 3 and leave this, but because I know that I had 2 here, 1 purl stitch, I wanted to edit. So that's my choice, but you know, you could do it the other way around. You could pick up 3 and leave the gap over here. Could work. And then you could use that end of the bowl that it's hanging, and you will have to wave it in at the end and just nicely secure the hole if you have it here. So that end kind of helps you up in case it will not work out the way you want to. So anyway, 1, 2, 3 here. Lovely. And I'm going to knit those 2 together. And I'm going to pick 1, 2. So I'm going with 2 strands, so not only 1, because that way we'll create a hole. I'm grabbing from the other side too, so as you can see. I'm going to drop that strand and go with another strand from another bowl. Here we're just knitting. And the same thing over here. Now I have 2 pointing, so I have to create that loop, right, to work with the left needle. And now let's check it out. 1, 2, 3, and this is my 4th one. And check this out. I'm not happy with this. I would love the higher one, right? But it does not work for me. Look, check this out. I probably was loose very over here when I was knitting. So I will go under. Yeah, and you see this kind of looks way better, I think. Anyway, let's. So now if it happens that you don't have a choice and this pulls out, remember, try to get this stitch loose. That way it will not pull so bad. You won't know until you do it. Yeah, it's kind of loosen up, isn't it? We don't have a hole, so. And now we were going here, remember, 2. Okay. Okay. So here how it looks. Remember now, still this first stitch and maybe the second will be loose, but you adjust it with this, and you do that before you start knitting another round. It's very important. So sometimes what I like to do, you see, even though I pull this one is loose. So literally those 3 stitches, you try to maintain the same tension around the needle when you have it on one on it, but that way you will make sure that this first and second and third stitch is the same. Now let me know, do you do it this way or do you straight away pick up and knit, knitting sleeves 2 at a time? I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm knitting the sweater and I'm hoping to record a video how I modify the free pattern from perspective of using a thicker yarn. So the sweater that I had in mind to knit was in the fingering, and I just went with a DK. Stay tuned for some knitting inspirations.